Okay, wonderful. We are live and let's start. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Giriz Adda for a very, very special event and session today with a wonderful set of guests who we've been able to put together. I'll tell you what this is all about in a little while. First of all, a very good morning to all of you from Raipur. I'm very happy to say that this is the first event of its kind on Giriz Adda, where we are going to be hearing some very fascinating and wonderful stories from a set of people, common people like you and me, who've done some remarkable things in their life, who continue to do these remarkable things and inspire all of us. So, as you all know, we've been at Giriz Adda, we've been doing a number of conversations. Some of these, in fact, most of the conversations so far have been on the topic of mindfulness meditation. But today, it's going to be a little different. Of course, we can we can say that what we're going to be talking about is about being mindful, but in a way, uh, you know, that it enables you to do something that you're passionate about. Okay, so we have three people who, let me put it very simply, and I'll allow this you to figure this out. Three people who enjoy rolling around in their lives and mindfully rolling, if I were to put it that way. And so, welcome, Tehseen, Anuradha, and Karishma. You are truly an inspiration for us, and we cannot wait to hear your stories today. Let me very quickly introduce my wonderful guests and give you a brief idea of what they're up to. So, Karishma is a homemaker. She's a happy-go-lucky person, as she calls herself, and she believes in spreading positivity around, and that's the sense that you get when you meet her, always with a smile and always with a lot of positive energy. She's an entrepreneur, wife, mother, friend, and so on. And I think one of her mottos in life is be patient and the results will speak for themselves. And I think as she tells her story, this is going to be very, very, very obvious to all of us. Welcome, Karishma. And a favorite line perhaps from Karishma is something that I would like to quote here. Kuch bhi bano Mubarak, or pehle insan bano. That's what she keeps saying. Nahi, nahi, cover nahi cha. So, welcome, Karishma. It's a delight to have you here. Let me get to Tehseen, the youngest of our guests today. And I'll tell you something. Her bio is formidable. Okay, but I'm only going to tell you two things about Tehseen today. One is that she's an outdoor enthusiast, whether it is cycling, trekking, mountaineering, running, climbing. She's climbed some of the biggest mountains in this world. And she's a law graduate. She is currently pursuing her master's in education from Azim Premji University. Okay. Uh, Tehseen, I would say, should be the ideal role model for young people who are watching this show. And there is something that which is very impressive about her. She talks about fulfilling hundreds of small goals, and I think there's a lesson in it for us. Keep the goal small, achieve it, move on to something else, right? Two of those goals she achieved last year, and let me then mention that and move on. First of all, she has the unique distinction of having cycled from Kanyakumari to Khardungla Pass in Ladakh. It's basically cutting across the entire country of India. How many kilometers would that be, Tessin? 4,000.
Yeah, approximately
4,000
4,000.
kilometers in some 40 odd days. She also has climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest peak in the continent of Africa. I'm saying all of this very easily, but I'm sure there's a stupendous achievement in all of that. Welcome, Tessin.
Thank
You're going to inspire us today along with Karishma. The last person on the panel, but not the least, is Anuradha. Anuradha works with the United Nations Children's Fund in Chhattisgarh, in Raipur. She has been here for a few years. She is really a fun spirited person. You can hear her laugh miles away. right? And like Karishma, she's somebody who would love to spread positivity all around. She's somebody who is very honest and frank with her opinions and speaks her mind. She's a mother, a homemaker, and a career woman. And her motto in life is to live and let live. And that is what she embodies in everything that she does. Honesty and being truthful are, values that Anuradha cherishes. And she strongly believes that nothing is impossible. And of course, she is an embodiment of that statement, because in her mid 50s, Anuradha is doing something that is inspiring all of us. So, yeah. So, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in again. I'm really excited about this particular session, and I'm going to be posing a number of questions to these three wonderful people who have this one thing in common with them. And when I said rolling away to glory, literally, I'm talking about the passion for cycling. So they're all cyclists, they're all friends of each other, they all belong to a very active cycling group in Raipur called as Tour de Raipur, TDR, and they've done some really very interesting things. So let's, without any further ado, let's start off with the first question. And let me ask Tessin to begin with. Tessin, what has brought you here? And when I say that, what has brought you into cycling, right? Is it a person who motivated you or pushed you into it? Is it a particular situation that got you into it? Or is it just a fancy, ki bhai, let me, purchase a nice looking cycle and cycle around? What is it that has got you into this and ultimately got you to do that huge journey from Kanyakumari to Ladakh? And I'm sure we look forward to hearing more about that journey. Tessin, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Girisa, for inviting us here. Thank you so much. For me, cycling, like it was introduced in my childhood only. So my mother was
Hmm.
always pushing me to learn bicycle, and I was always scared to fall down. So
Okay.
I learned at around when I was 7 years, and I used to go to school in my bicycle only. It was nearby, and I used to go
Okay.
to my
This is in
tuition and
Raipur.
yeah, in Raipur only.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
So all these small places, nearby place, I used to go in my small bicycle, and I used to enjoy it a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
as I started growing up, I was told by my parents that you will get no scooty till you are in school. You have to go by
Mm-hmm.
bicycle only. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how I was used to this.
Okay.
Now, that was just for the schooling thing. While I was
Right.
studying in Pune, I bought a bicycle there as well. So just to
Okay.
go in and around. And that's how it started. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
having a group of people, going with them to new places and cycling, that's really
Right.
fun. That's kind of social activity and you enjoy a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it has become a trend now
Right.
to cycle to new
Mm-hmm.
places.
Mm-hmm. So,
So
what was it that really motivated you to make it big? I mean, these were
yeah,
things that I think many people do, right? I did it when I was in my childhood. Yeah.
right. So in 2019, I went to Himachal Pradesh. So there is a
Okay.
place called Jalori Pass. That
Mm-hmm.
is where I cycled like a gear bike for the first time.
Mm.
And cycling on mountains is really a pleasure. Like I have always been in love with mountains, and cycling there
Okay.
was really fun. So,
Right.
but it becomes a challenge as well because you have to climb up
Of
and a
course.
lot of
Yeah.
yeah. So after that, I got to know about cycling in Leh. So in 2015, I went to cycle around Leh, and then I went
Okay.
to Ooty as well for a week to cycle around,
Oh,
and
wow. Ooty, the
that's how.
hairpin bends are very
Yes,
steep, isn't
yes,
it? Some 30 or
yes.
40 of them. Yeah.
Right. So even that was fun. So I thought, okay, if I'm exploring such small places,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I should start discovering new places as well in bicycle only, because that's the best way to see any place. You are
Right.
cycling, you are at a slow place, and you can enjoy the beauty. For me, it
Mm-hmm.
was that, and that's how I started making my small, small goals. And I was cycling around, and when I came back to Raipur after my college,
Mm-hmm.
I met this group here, Tour de Raipur,
Right.
and I really enjoyed cycling with them. So
Okay.
that is where I met Anuradha ma'am and Karishma ma'am.
Wonderful. Just one, question. I know you're going to be, we are going to be talking more about this, but then at which point did you, and very briefly, if you can respond to this, at which point did you actually decide that you're going to do Kanyakumari to Khardungla in Leh? I mean, that is not a small goal, right? I mean, you're saying it is small. To me, I shudder at the very thought of cycling 4,000 kilometers. But then you must have taken that decision. When did that happen? And who
Yeah.
was
So
responsible for it, if at all?
so the first time it hit my head that I want to do this was in 2015 when I was at my peak cycling a lot. So
Hmm.
that's when I just thought I want to do it someday.
Okay.
So I told my parents, I think like 2 years back, that I want to do
Hmm.
this, and they were like, "Ki, why in the roads of India? Like it's not safe, and
Correct. Yeah.
you should just cycle from Chandigarh to Khardungla because that is where you will be
Uh,
enjoying a
that is more manageable.
right."
Yes.
So, okay, somehow that plan got cancelled in 2018. Again,
Okay.
I asked them that I want to do in 2019. So, they were concerned about my safety, but they all agreed to it and they all supported me really well. And that's how I was
Wonderful.
able to do it with one of my cycling partners. His name is Pankaj. He's from Haryana.
Okay.
And we
Okay.
both did that in, we were able to complete it in July
Okay.
2019.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Took us
So I
like
think the, yeah, sorry. No, please finish. Yeah.
yeah, so it took us around 49 days, in which there
Okay.
were cycling days were 40 to complete the 4,000 kilometer of journey.
Wow. Wow. Wonderful. I wish I could have done that. I would have been then, one of the guests on this panel today. I think there's a very clear message over here to all parents who may be watching this show with their children, that, can we really encourage the passion of our children? Can we encourage them to follow their hearts? I think that's one very clear and very heartwarming message that we hear from Tehseen. So thank you so much for that. More on that Kanyakumari Khardungla trip as we go along. Uh, Let me get in Anuradha next, and uh, you know, the same set of questions, Anuradha. You're in your mid 50s, right? That's a time. I mean, I am also there, so that's the time where one wants life to be a little relaxed, quiet. You would be grateful at the end of the day if you're waking up every morning feeling good, doing your household chores and coming to the office and so on. But what is it that got you on this? I mean, when did you decide? Was there a person who motivated you, or an event? Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, hi Giri. It's lovely to be on Giriz Adda.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to be here with Karishma and Tehseen. Both are lovely female riders. I love riding with them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, so about me, uh, there were actually two triggers for me on why I started cycling. So, like Tehseen says, I was also cycling to school and all that, which is like many of us do. Mostly, all the youngsters do that.
Right.
Then after 35 years, after a gap of 35 years, I think I left cycling somewhere in 1985, 89, I think.
Okay.
1985 or 86, I had left cycling. And then suddenly in 2019, I came back to it. And there were two
Almost
triggers.
35 years ago, 35 years
Yeah,
later. Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing.
So there
Hmm.
were two triggers. First and foremost was my health. So in
Okay.
2012, I had started getting this knee problem.
Okay.
So and slowly it aggravated. I just took it very lightly. Ki, Acha, chalo, ghutne mein dard hai, it's fine. And
Hmm.
then slowly it became unbearable. And over a span of 4 to 5 years, it really aggravated very badly. And by
Mm-hmm.
2018, I think I was really kind of struggling with my knee problem. And I was like, the worst part was when I used to look at staircases. So it
Wow.
was
Okay.
like, Are Bapre, I have to climb these staircases or I have to go down these staircases. That always depressed me.
Very
It used to,
daunting thought. Yeah.
yeah, it was a daunting thought, and it used to make me feel very dependent on people. And I am a very, very, very independent person. So I just
Yeah.
cannot think of being dependent on anyone, anyone for anything. So it was like,
Correct.
this is very difficult for me to kind of rails ko pakadna hai, yeah, I have to hold on to my son's hand or anything like that. So that
Mm.
was that was a very big issue. And I was even contemplating surgery at one point. I was even contemplating surgery. and I was
Okay.
thinking, should I
Okay.
go for a knee replacement? Or and my brother was really after my life, ki you just go and get your surgery done, and kind of, why are you
Right.
struggling like this? So
Yeah.
all these things were going on, and there was, if you remember, Giri, I had even spoken to you, to your wife, about
Yes.
who to contact in Bangalore for a surgery and all that.
Correct. Correct.
So all
Yes.
those things were going on. The second trigger is more funny in the in the sense that we, if you know, we all keep clicking pics. You know,
Yeah.
every day we are clicking pics, left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And none of the pics have ever kind of, I used to click pic, I put it in a DP, and that's it. But in
Yeah.
2018 November, we had an
Mm-hmm.
event in the office, and in the
Okay.
event in the office, and we all clicked a lot of pics in that
Yeah.
event, and we were all wearing our office ka t-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
and that, I don't know why, what happened, I don't know, but when I looked at those pics, I just didn't
Uh-huh.
like myself, what I was seeing. I was like,
Right.
nahi, nahi,
Okay.
yaar, I cannot look like this.
It
So
was like a
it was very
mirror.
funny that, yeah,
Yeah.
for 4 years I was struggling with the knee problem, and the final
Yeah.
trigger actually was those pictures in a
Wow.
UNICEF
Okay.
t-shirt, and I was like, nahi, nahi, yaar, I cannot look like this, and this
Correct.
is not
Yeah.
me. This is not what I want to look like. So
Yeah.
then,
Okay.
that thought process started ki nahi, kuch to karna padega type of thing, and
Okay.
then I said, chalo, what to do? So first thought was knee surgery, yes. Second thought
Mm-hmm.
was, should I go for a weight loss program?
Okay.
Contact there are so many agencies who do this weight loss thing. So should I go for
Yeah.
that? So I
Yeah.
was like, for 2-3 months, I kept mulling over this, ki ye kare, ki wo kare, what to do, what not to do. And
Mm-hmm.
then I did a good thing that I went and consulted a doctor. And
Mm.
I started off with that only, ki bhai, I have this knee problem. Should I go for a knee
Yeah.
surgery? And the
Yeah.
doctor, I don't know, it was just, I should say that, ki it's just God's miracle or something, that this doctor looks at me and says, you don't need a surgery. You look so
Surgery.
fine.
Yeah.
So I said,
Yeah.
लेकिन मेरे को तो बहुत दर्द होता है, I'm not able to walk or go up the stairs and down the stairs. He said, no, you just have to reduce your weight. And I said, what to do about reducing the weight? So I said, it's easier said than done.
Okay.
I said, how do I reduce the weight? And he just said that, see, for a knee problem, there are only two. This was for my audience also. For a knee problem, there are two good exercises, which is, one is swimming and one is cycling. These are the
Okay.
two things which really help you with your knee issues. So to all my audiences out there, this is a good suggestion which my doctor had given me.
Wonderful.
So
Yeah.
swimming, I didn't go because it was already beyond summers, and I thought, no, it will be like, I don't want to do that. And
Uh-huh.
cycling seemed more, which I can do 365 days of the year. Swimming
Right.
seemed more short term. So I said, no, I want to do something which will be more sustainable, which will be long term. So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
when I said, "Acha, chalo, let me go cycling." And
Okay.
the doctor said, "Ki gym mein cycling nahi karna. You should not go into the gym. Please get onto
Right.
on a cycle and go on the road." So I was very
Right.
happy. I'm a very, very independent person, and this was one thing which really made me very happy. I said, "Arey wow, I can go and roam around and go anywhere I
Wow.
want to."
Wonderful.
So that was
So
the
I have
feeling.
one.
My feeling, yeah.
I have one question. Who is this wonderful doctor who spoke to you about cycling, and who really
He's
put that
Doctor
final
Animesh,
seed?
who is in
Okay.
Apollo Clinic in Raipur.
In Raipur. Yeah, I have met Dr. Animesh. He's a
Raipur,
wonderful
Doctor
person,
Animesh, yeah.
and
So
yeah, and
he
seldom
was
do
the one who
doctors
told me.
advise. Yeah, seldom do
Yeah.
doctors
So
advise like
then I
this
said,
most
कि
of the
चलो
time.
यार, मैं तो अब now
Yeah.
I'm getting onto the cycle, and in any case I was cycling 35 years back. So just I
Yeah.
went, bought the cycle, कर लिया. So I'm
Right.
enjoying it.
Right. Wow, wonderful. I think there's a very, very clear, I mean, two, three things, Anuradha, which really strike me and inspire me is one is that, of course, we keep saying that age is just a number, but I think here you have actually shown us that it is just a number. And, you've taken, as they say, you've taken the bull by the horns, and there was a deep conviction inside you that I had to do something about my life, that I had
Yeah,
to, get a better control over what I was doing and what was happening to me. And
absolutely.
wonderful. Thanks to Dr. Animesh for getting you on this path as well. Yeah. So, Karishma, welcome again to the studios. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
What has
Gi, for
brought you
calling me.
into? Thank you so much. Yeah. So, what has brought you into cycling? Who pushed
Good
you into
morning,
it? What's
everyone.
your story? Yeah.
I'll tell you very honestly,
Mm-hmm.
cycling is my passion from childhood. As Tessin said, that,
Mm-hmm.
it's every child's passion. Passion
Mm,
never dies. Passion never dies.
mm,
Actually, honestly, what bring me here was my health. Same as
mm.
Anuradha's story. I was
Okay.
suffering from a lot of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I had one disease which is called hollow bones, like
Oh,
So I
okay.
also visited to doctor. So he told me also that you should
Mm-hmm.
start cycling every day, 15 to 20 kilometers. You should start cycling.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I just I avoided doctor's word. I started gymming,
Okay.
but it did not help me.
Right.
Then again
Right.
I started walking. It made me worse.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought what to do. Then again, I came back to my passion, which was really cycling. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
be very honest, working out at gym and other activities, they are really boring. And
Mm,
cycling
mm,
was like next level happiness for me.
mm.
And then I was very scared. Like I'm 45 and I'm doing cycling at this age. Like I started gradually to 10 kilometers. Then I met Anuradha ma'am one day.
Okay.
Then I thought,
So
oh
you
God,
did
she
you
will
meet her
do
on the
in this.
road? Did you
Yeah,
meet her
yeah,
on
I
the
met
road?
her on the
Okay.
road one day. Yeah.
Oh,
That was
wonderful.
a very
Okay.
good story. That triggered me that I should also not, that my passion should not die in my heart. That
Mm-hmm.
she is doing in this age and I am scared to start in 45 years. See, I
Right.
went to the gym. It was very boring.
Correct.
And in cycling, I find my me time. Like I am myself. Like,
Mm, mm.
completely your me time you are enjoying. And
Wow.
then
Okay.
I met Anuradha ma'am. And then this triggered my passion. Like she's doing in this age, I should also start.
Wow.
Mine was
Wow.
this story,
Wonderful.
and the health was the primary issue. Doctor
Okay.
advised you have to do bicycling. Walking is
Yeah.
not advisable in this age because
Yeah.
of the bones and all that. And other
Right.
activities are very boring. Every day you
Right.
go to the gym, it's boring.
Do the same thing again and again. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. And
Yeah.
what I was, and I partly found my childhood back while riding with Anuradha ma'am and Tessin. We sometimes we become kids, when we are riding.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
racing together, and all that
Wow.
made me so happy. I found happiness should be destination, not a journey.
Correct. Oh, wow.
So
That's
I found
beautifully
that
said.
cycling is
Yeah.
my happiness.
Wonderful. And one can see it on your face as you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm very happy riding, and everyone knows that in our group. And I'm really thankful to the TDR family. I'm associated with that group, Tour the
Yeah.
Ride. They
Right.
really inspire people, they motivate people, they
Yeah.
give people that they should achieve their goals. Many
Correct.
people have
Correct.
found their identities in that group, like they are riders.
Yeah. It's a lovely family and a very supportive
Yes,
community.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, Anuradha, very quickly,
Girish,
you wanted to say something. Yes.
just a small, since she talked about TDR, and I'm sure my
Yeah.
TDR friends will be online somewhere. So I just wanted to put one small thing here that
Yeah.
TDR actually was started in 2014, and
Okay.
2000.
currently we are around 300 plus riders in a WhatsApp group. But
Wow.
in reality,
Uh-huh.
the regular riders who most ride more or less every day are around 40 to 50 of us who at
And
some
all
point of
from
time in a
Raipur.
day will, yeah, in
We
Raipur
All
can
only.
say
from
it's more
Raipur.
than 100 years, yes, all from Raipur. Yeah.
Hmm.
And no,
Hmm.
a lot of them are
And
from Bilaspur and Rajnandgaon also.
yeah,
But
yeah.
40
But
to 50 of
maximum
us
are
are
from
regular.
Raipur.
Yeah. So 40 to
Okay.
50 are definitely regular riders. The another
Yes.
Right.
thing what I feel proud of is that there are very few female riders. And when I started, I think there were only a couple of us. And I always used to
Hmm.
feel this thing, where are the women riders? And now this
Yeah.
Corona
Yeah.
and lockdown has brought in more women riders. And I'm extremely
Wonderful.
happy to see
Yeah.
more women riders. So we are still
Yeah.
very less
Okay.
in number. We are only around 10 to 12 of us. And I would
Yeah.
love to
Yeah.
see the number of women riders grow here. And
Yeah.
third thing
I'm
is, and
sure
third,
you'll
I'm sure after this, yeah, it is
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
we
yeah.
should
growing.
we should
Yeah.
increase the number of women riders. And my
Yeah.
TDR the colleagues will agree, friends will agree. Whenever they used to stand for a photograph, and all these
Yeah.
men will be standing, and I'll always jump in and say, "कि भाई एक female के बिना photo आपका, you cannot have a complete photo without a female."
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there
But we
are
have
women
Okay.
riders
grown.
So
out there. Yeah.
yeah.
So they
So
will
I
all
think
laugh
But we
there
at
are
have
me. Yes,
grown.
yes, without you. So
Yeah,
they
there
were
are a
all
few comments
including
that are
the
coming in which I want to put right up. In fact, there's a comment
yeah.
for, I mean, before you move on with the next question, very briefly, Anuradha, I think there's a comment from Shikha which says, your experience is inspiring. Thanks for sharing with all of us. And there's somebody called Evlis C who has a specific question for you. You can very quickly respond to it right now, Anuradha. The question
Okay.
is, did the knee pain reduce or vanish after you started cycling?
Yes, the knee
That's a
pain has
question.
reduced considerably. The knee
Okay,
pain has
wonderful.
reduced considerably, and now the
Okay,
staircase is definitely not daunting at all. I can go
of
up the
course,
staircase,
of
come
course.
down
Yeah,
at a slower
yeah,
pace, but I can do it very easily.
wonderful. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's another comment from Sadhna which says, we all need an ikigai in life. I mean, ikigai is the Japanese approach to living,
Happy.
thinking, acting, to happiness, in fact. And in Japanese, it's a passion that gets you out of bed with a spring. You know, you get up feeling very positive.
Yeah.
uh, it's a deep calling, it all of what you do, I think the three of you are doing is not surface. I think it comes from a very, very deep place. Jayant
Yeah.
Lakra from, I think, Jashpur says very motivational. Okay, so let's move on. Let's take this conversation to another level altogether. uh, I'm sure each one of you has your fascinating experiences or story to share on this journey. You've cycled thousands and hundreds and thousands of kilometers. We would like to know what some of those stories and experiences are. You've told us what got you into it, right? And I think in particular, both you, Anuradha, and Karishma, really very heartwarming stories about how you turned your health problem, upside down and literally overcame it, fought it with a lot of conviction and tenacity. What was the question is, what was the most challenging part, has been the most challenging part of that journey so far? And your sense of achievement, I'm sure each one of you has your sense of achievement to it. And I'm sure along that journey, there are memorable incidents, there are funny incidents, there are probably humorous incidents. I remember when I was, learning how to cycle way back in the 70s, I think, in Jayanagar. I just once rammed into a pack of buffaloes and fell there, and so many such stories, or somewhere banged somebody else, all of that. So I'm sure there are these, anecdotes and incidents that you would want to remember. But then, more importantly, the challenges that you've faced and your sense of achievement. So let's again start with Tehseen. We are now looking forward to hear your Kanyakumari to Khardungla experience.
Okay, yeah. So K2K was an epic journey, I should tell you. So
Mm,
it sounds very fascinating, riding 100, daily. Okay, so for a day it's fine, for another day it's fine, for 3, 4 days it's fine. But after a point, your body starts getting weak, you start getting tired. So if you're
mm,
able to finish those 120 kilometers in 6, 7 hours, now you're taking 8, 9 hours because that's a regular
mm,
process. You're making it your routine. So
mm,
this is where the things get monotonous. For me, especially riding in K2K, 60-70% was in highway. Okay,
okay.
so a lot of times the highway were really beautiful. Like in the southern
Hmm.
states, there were trees, coconut trees, all that. But there are few things like weather. It
Right.
really becomes difficult for you while you're riding. The sun just above your head, and you of course need to hydrate yourself. But still, the weather and then continuously riding, it keeps on getting tough.
Mm,
So that is where, um, for me, I have actually prepared for that. But once you
mm-hmm,
start the journey, it
mm,
always starts getting tougher. So,
yeah.
while I was in the plain areas, that was fine.
Mm-hmm,
Now the
mm,
problem increased. Now the
yeah.
difficulties are getting more once I started, like once I entered the mountain areas.
Right.
There, yeah. So as you gain the height, the oxygen gets low. We all know that.
Right. Right.
There are difficulties in breathing, and
Yeah.
once you have to ride uphill, it means it
Mm-hmm,
requires more strength.
mm,
So all these things like physical
mm-hmm,
strength and the weather and the
mm-hmm,
oxygen, gaining
mm-hmm,
height, all this comes together to you at one point. So what
Mm.
happened to me, like while I started cycling from Manali,
Mm.
so you all will be like very familiar with the Rohtang Pass.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You've heard about
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So that is around 50 kilometers from Manali, and that is all
Mm.
uphill. So
Wow. Okay.
we decided to do it in a day, and we will
Mm.
cross that, and then we will go to next place and take the rest there.
Right.
So now what happened? There was some road work going on, due to which we were asked to stop for like 2 3 hours, and we
Mm.
lost a lot of time in that. So there was a wrong decision which we took. We
Mm-hmm.
decided, okay, whatever it is, we should continue cycling. What we would
Mm.
have done is we would have stopped at that point, at that
Mm.
place where there
Mm.
were places to stay, but we continued cycling. And what happened,
Mm.
it was past 6 o'clock, and in mountains it
Mm.
gets really dangerous
Right.
once you are on road in evening. So the weather
Right.
changes tremendously. I mean, it got really cold, and like there was zero visibility, literally zero visibility.
Right. Wow.
And
Okay.
in cold, you don't even realize that your body is getting dehydrated. So I
Yeah.
even forgot to drink water. And
Mm-hmm.
now, after all this thing, I reached Rotang Pass at 8 p.m. And now
Wow.
that is
Okay.
really horrifying. Now that was the biggest
Crazy.
challenge for me. Okay, fine. एक zip थी and I have reached there. Okay, fine.
Wow.
But you should never challenge yourself when you are in mountains. So there's a
Right.
line. Um, don't be a gama in the land of lama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
The Lama
yeah,
is supreme. Nothing is more than
right.
the Lama. Yes.
Right. So I challenged the mountains because I thought, okay, I have to do this. Like from all the past 25, 30 days, I was like reaching my target, whatever I have made.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is what where I pressurized myself, and then I went way beyond my limit. That's when I fell sick. And after falling
Okay.
sick, I took rest for 3 days because
Oh
I
my
and
God.
my
Okay.
energy was like zero. It came back to zero.
Right.
So once I started
Right.
from Kanyakumari, my energy was even low from that. I mean,
Okay. Baapre.
for me, cycling was like a okay, it's a new thing, and how do I do that? So after that, my journey became tougher and tougher because that's the
Okay.
place where I thought I will be enjoying a lot in mountains, but that's where I was
Yeah.
the weakest. I was the weakest.
Ah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
this was the biggest challenge for me, which came till now in my bicycle journey.
Plannings can fail.
Yeah.
Willpower doesn't
Yeah.
fail.
I mean, and
Plannings
I
can be
think,
fail, but willpower doesn't fail.
yeah.
Right.
But the
Right.
other thing
It
is
was your
also the
willpower.
decisions that you take are so
Right.
crucial
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
long journey like this. But tell me one thing. Yeah. Briefly again. What is your sense of? I mean, what did you feel when you finally reached uh, Khardungla? I mean, that must have been like you must have really felt on top of the world. Can you just describe that to us a little? What was that
Okay.
sense of achievement that you felt?
Yeah. So from day one, it was in my mind to go to Khardungla in bicycle. And a year before that, like in 2018, I have already cycled from Leh to Khardungla. I
Mm,
took the bike on rent, and that was 40
mm-hmm,
kilometers, and I was able to finish that.
mm,
But now after riding from last 39 days, the last
mm,
40th day when I have to ride the same, I was pretty
mm.
much confident that I have done this previously and I will be able to do that.
Right.
But the thing which I have not realized is I was tired. I was really
Mm,
tired of riding from all this 39 days. So it
mm-hmm,
became really very difficult for me. At a point, only on
mm.
40th day, I thought I should quit. Not from last 39
Oh.
days, I thought I have to quit, but that's the time when I thought I have to quit.
Mm,
Um, Suddenly, there was some network, and my father called me and he was talking to me. He was like, okay, take some rest.
mm,
If you don't want, like, take some rest, start after a while.
mm, mm,
And it really struck my mind, okay, dude, like I have done it from last 39 days and just one day,
mm,
and here's the destination. So let's
mm,
go for it.
mm.
And my speed got really, really very slow, really slow.
Okay. Okay.
And the stretch to Khardungla is like, okay, now it will come, now it will come. So the right turn keeps on coming, and you think, okay, after this right turn, you can see the pass, you can see the pass. Now,
Okay.
when it finally arrived, I thought I will just burst out in tears, but suddenly everything just choked inside me. And I was
Wow,
like
wow.
shocked. Okay, this is it. This is it. And I am able to finish. So that feeling I can't describe actually, because I kept
Amazing,
thinking
amazing.
about that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
somehow every day was an achievement for me. If I was not
yeah.
able to achieve all those days, I would not have reached that 40th day.
Correct, correct.
So
Yeah,
again,
But
very
this
true.
is very interesting. What you're saying is, I think in the month of June, we were talking to a young mountaineer called Yashi Jain from Raigad, again in Chhattisgarh, and she has the distinction of having climbed Mount Elbrus in Europe, which is, I think, the tallest peak in Europe.
yes,
And this is exactly what she told us. She said, as I was summiting that peak, as I was a little distance away, every ounce of my body, every fiber in my body said quit. And she said I had to summon so much energy for that last leap and go forward.
yes,
We will come to that a little later, Tehseen, this mind body business that we talk about and how to overcome that and so on. Anuradha, what are your most challenging experiences on this beautiful journey that you have taken for yourself, and what is your sense of achievement?
Achievement. Okay. Um, I have been cycling since 2019 June, so it's
Okay.
nearly 1.5 years now. Um, and everyone in my group used to do these 100-kilometer rides. They do in a month. They usually have a group ride of 100 kilometers, and they used to always say, "Ki, ma'am, come along." And I used to say, "Bhaiya, 100 kilometer, to 100 kilometer, no, I'm not cycling. It is not me. I can't do all that." And I never used to do it. And my
Hmm.
maximum has been around, I will go from my home to the Sendh Lake in Naya Raipur, which is around 25 kilometers, come back 25. So 50 kilometers I have done. But 100, I
Right.
was like, "Arey, nahi, it is not possible," kind of a thing. So I never used
Yeah.
to do that. Now in October this year, I
Mm-hmm.
had this thought ki, by now there are many female riders also, and there are a lot of people encouraging and motivating. So at least now this year, chalo, I will do 100 kilometer definitely by December. So that is the
Hmm.
target I had set for myself. In October, I
Hmm.
said by December 31st, I should do 100 kilometer ka ride. So that was my simple
Hmm.
target for myself. Now
Hmm.
suddenly this challenge comes up called Tour de Bergamot Tour de 100. Now this
Okay.
challenge is, my God, it's challenging everyone. I think it's challenging everyone. So this challenge, there was this one in this challenge in the first stage itself. There was one ride which we had to do 100 kilometer. Ka one ride we had to do.
Okay.
Now, thanks to Karishma, she was the
Mm-hmm.
one behind me doing my first century. I can openly give her the full credit because I
Wow.
was like,
Okay.
"मैं थोड़े ही करने वाली हूँ, I'm not going to do it." And she was like, "How can you say no?" It was like she was like, "You cannot say no." She just
Hmm.
refused to allow me to say no. So she
Hmm.
said, "नहीं नहीं नहीं, हम लोग करेंगे. We will do. We will do. We will do." So then finally I did my 100, and with matlab these girls encouraging me, and I did my 100 and I felt very happy. I said, "Arey,
Hmm.
I तो was able to do 100, matlab like something which I thought I will never ever do or कर नहीं सकती. मैंने कहा, "अरे ये तो कर लिया fine करके." So that
Hmm.
was my first sense of like achievement, which I felt really good about.
Wow.
Now the
100 is
another
not
sense of
easy.
achievement
I
I
mean,
talk
when I
about.
think of it, yeah, 100 is
Yeah,
daunting. I
it
mean,
took me five. Yeah, it took me 5 hours of continuous cycling to complete a 100 kilometer ride. So it's a 5 kilometer,
that's,
which is a good average. That is what the
yeah,
other co-riders told me. It's a good average. I was very happy about it.
right.
I'll talk about another big achievement which came in November, but in between I will talk about a challenge. The challenge was
Yes.
the next
Yeah.
stage of the Tour de 100 challenge had a 125 kilometers ride. Now
Oh,
Karishma again, we will do
okay.
125 also.
Right. Right.
I was like, अरे 100 कर लिया, बहुत बड़ी बात है. I'm not doing any 100, 125, 100 is enough. So I was very
Yeah.
complacent, हाँ, आराम से बैठी. I don't want to do. And
Yeah.
this lady, she goes and does 125 and then tells me,
Yeah.
"Arey, I have done it. You can also do it."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said, "अच्छा चलो कर." अच्छा, then I said, "चलो अच्छा मैं भी करती हूँ." So I took a proper छुट्टी and all from the office, and मैंने कहा चलो छुट्टी लेके करूँगी. I said
Mm-hmm.
5 hours for 100. So another 25 kilometers means I said चलो 6.5 hours में हो जाएगा. But I think there I kind of miscalculated a little bit because then we decided to ride on the airport road, but it was very hot on that day, unfortunately. When I did the 100 that day, the sun was very light, and when I did the 125, the sun was very hot. So by the
Okay.
I somehow did my 100, And 100 ke baad, when I was at the 104 or 105 kilometers, I was like, bhai, I'm going back home types. Matlab, I just was about to give up. I said, ki, I cannot do 125. Leave it, yaar. I've done 104. I'm going back home. And
Okay.
just at that point, when I was thinking of giving up, I get a call from one of my co-rider called Andy. He's a
Okay.
very senior rider, very good rider he is. So he called suddenly and he said, Madam, aapka theek chal raha hai sab kuch? That is what he asked me. Huh? I don't know, out of the blue, he calls me and he says, are you fine? Are you kind of comfortable? Because he knew I was doing that 125. And he said, are you fine? Are you? So I said, no, Andy, I can't do. I'm only at 105 and I can't do. So he said, no, you can't give up at 105. It is just 20 more
Yeah.
kilometers. It's nothing for you.
Yes.
It is nothing.
Yeah.
20 kilometers is nothing, Madam Ji, you must do it. Matlab, I think his tone helped me. The way he said it,
Ah.
20
Okay.
kilometers is nothing, you have to do it. I think the way he said it was very encouraging. I
Wow.
said,
Wow.
nahi, auntie, I can't do it. He said, no, you keep going. So then I
Yeah.
kept going for another 10 kilometers. Now I was at
Okay.
115 kilometers. And when I was
15.
at 115 kilometers, suddenly the phone rings. And Andy
Okay.
says, where are you, madam? So I said, I'm at
Okay.
this point. He said, just 5 minutes, you take a break. We are coming. I said, we are
Oh,
coming?
okay.
So then suddenly in 2 minutes, these angels, like angels, they come. This
Wow.
Andy and one Mr. Manoj and this darling
Okay.
Karishma. These three of
Okay.
them just stand up with water and with samosa and everything. They
Arre
make
wow.
me sit and eat a samosa and they say ki bhai nahi kuch nahi hai, now to you are going back home, from here you have to go back home, it will be 125 and all the best and everything, and they came back and I was able to
Wow.
do the 125. But what happened in this
Wonderful.
thing was that
Yeah.
at least it made me realize that
Mm-hmm.
these when you take these long rides, it is always better
Mm.
to go with a co-rider, take support of your co-riders, and one should not be so bold ki "Arey, main to kar lungi" types. No,
Mm.
that is not a very that is not a very good thing to do. Matlab, it is not that you just say "Arey, kuch nahi hai, 125 I can do." That is not a very good
Yeah.
idea. So this taught me that I should take more support of my co-riders and all that. So that is where I come to
Correct.
my next achievement, which I
Mm-hmm.
did in November, which is the largest achievement I have done till date, and I'm extremely proud of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a 200-kilometer BRM. Now,
Oh,
for all my
wow.
cycling, non-cycling,
Amazing. Yeah.
all my
Yeah.
non-cycling audience, all my non-cycling audience, BRM is BRM is a long-distance cycling where there is a prescribed route and there is a prescribed time in which this
Mm-hmm.
event has to be completed. So in Chhattisgarh, the route for a 200 BRM is from Raipur city till a place called Pithora, which is 100 kilometers from here. So we have to ride on the highway in the same prescribed route for 100 kilometers and come back 100 kilometers. And the prescribed time for this ride is 13 and a half hours. So we have to
Okay.
complete it in 13 and a half hours. So if we start at 5:30 in the morning, we all have to complete it by 7 in the evening. So that is
Oh,
the thing. So when I did my 125, my co-riders again, they started saying, "Arey, ab to aapne 125 kar liya hai. Now you can do 200 also." So again, I was
right.
like, no, I can't do 200 and all. I'm always like that. So I'll start with
Yeah.
a no. So I said, no, 200 and all, I'm not doing. So then I have this one very good co-rider called Lokesh in our group. His
Mm-hmm.
one motto in life is "Thakna mana hai." He always says
Okay.
"Thakna mana hai." You cannot say you're tired. So
Right.
I really love that about him. So he is like,
Yeah.
no, you can do it. Luckily, I was because I had done that 125 and I knew about the challenge of riding alone. And so one very senior rider, Mr. Animesh, he was
Mm.
with us in the group. He offered. He said, "Ma'am, I will ride with you the 200
Oh,
kilometers."
wonderful.
So that
Okay.
is how then so he offered to ride with me. And thank you, Animesh, if you're listening to this. So he is the one who was instrumental in my finishing the 200 DRM. And now I
Wonderful.
have the
Yeah.
title of a randonnier. So a person who finishes
Oh,
the 200 BRM is called a randonnier. So I'm very proud to be a
randonnier.
randonnier. I
Okay.
think that's the
Wow.
most amazing
Wow.
experience for me, and I'm extremely happy about it. And yeah,
Wow.
I
Wow.
don't know whether I'll do a 300 or a 400, but yeah, I'm very happy with the
I'm
200. And
sure. I'm
thanks for
sure
this.
you will. I'm sure you will do your 300 and 400 maybe a few months down the line when we meet again.
That I don't know,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. I think this is really amazing. I mean, I think as human beings, sometimes we probably underestimate ourselves. We not only, of course, here we are giving examples of sheer physical endurance and so on, but it comes from the mind, it comes from the emotions, it comes
Yeah.
from the will. So I think there is really no limit to that. Karishma, quickly again, what was your most challenging part and your sense of achievement?
First thing, cycling is more mental than physical, actually, You have to be
Mm,
preparing yourself from here.
mm,
Physically, you are doing challenging yourself, no problem. But till mentally, you are not prepared. You cannot do 100, 200, 50 also. I'll tell you first thing when doctor told me you should ride every day 20 kilometers. I thought,
mm,
oh, it's very easy. I can do.
mm,
And I
mm.
started cycling. I started cycling. What happened? I started cheating myself. I will just go to 5 kilometers or 7 kilometers and I'll come back. Ho
Oh,
gaya. 20 I have done. Like it
right,
was so challenging for me to do 20 initially. I cannot do 20. Like, I couldn't finish 20 every day.
right, right.
One, like, I thought, chalo, let me start doing 20. Let me not cheat myself. Doctor to already has told you have to do 20. I
Yeah.
started 20. I went till
Mm-hmm,
airport one day
mm,
and I came
mm-hmm,
back. And I saw like I really rode 20 kilometers today. That
mm.
was my first achievement. I was so happy. I
Wow.
rode 20 kilometers.
Right,
Then I met
right,
Anuradha ma'am. She said, I ride every day 30, Karishma. 20 is
right.
nothing.
Yeah.
She said,
Okay.
you should go to, we have a sunrise point. And that is
Mm,
coming and going 30 kilometers, sunrise point.
okay.
I got motivated from Anuradha that 30 kilometers is very easy. Okay, I thought I will start 30 kilometers. We did 30 kilometers every day. Sometimes she joins me, Anuradha, and some more co-riders. And then the challenge was for me to 50 kilometers.
Mm-hmm,
Later, one day I got a call from our media family that we are doing 50
mm-hmm.
kilometers to the Saint Lake, like, on 15th
Right.
August.
Correct.
Like, हाँ, Independence Day हम सब 50 करेंगे. I
Yeah.
went till
Very true.
35 and I stopped myself. I cannot do. I gave
Wow.
up.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Again, they all pushed me, all my co-riders. Nahi, ma'am, it's very easy. You can do. Okay, I did
Right.
50. Like, I was
Wow.
so happy. Like 50 was like achievement for me. But I didn't
Correct.
know there is a limit to go, like,
Right.
Then, that Anuradha ma'am just said, we entered one competition. It is called a Bergamount Tour the 100 from France, We
Right.
all participated in that,
Okay.
There were challenges in that 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. उसमें ना I was in the like first top 10 100 में से top 10 ranking in the female category
Oh,
and
amazing.
I get
Okay.
obsessed. Arey, I have to keep my position alive always, Then I get little psycho on that. I have to write 100 every day, 50 every day. That thing made me. What happened one day, Anuradha ma'am did 50, 75. So I thought,
Yeah.
chalo, I will also do. I thought I will do 100 first. Like I started my 100. I did 80 or 85 I did and I gave up same like Radha ma'am. I cannot do more than that.
Became a bit too
Suddenly
ambitious.
she came to push
Yeah.
me and buck up me and that 85 हो गया 15 kilometers में you are giving up Karishma. No, 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 no. She came
Right.
all the way from office to meet me. We had
Oh,
some water and juice and everything. Yeah. She just came all the way from office to meet. That was
wow.
very good
Amazing.
for me.
Okay.
That
Okay.
15 kilometers was then nothing for me. That
Wow.
day,
Wow.
the day I did 100, it was next. In my Strava also I wrote it's next level happiness. After doing
Amazing.
100, see, we
Amazing.
cannot match that. The next level happiness to 4,000, 5,000 kilometers. Our
Yeah.
was
Okay.
100 kilometers. My next level happiness was 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Then again,
Okay.
I'll come back to the Bergamot 100. That actually motivated us so much. We entered
Mm-hmm.
in the competition level. Like, biking karna, cycling karna. Up एक competition हो गया था, like in between.
Okay.
Then later on, I just I thought कि उसको competition show, let us be in
Mm-hmm.
the fitness level. For me now,
Mm-hmm.
cycling, like I do for my fitness, not for any
Mm-hmm.
competition now. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
already achieved all the targets, 100, 125, 150. And then BRM, there was some with BRM to do BRM, like it was my dream, but I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
like attempt it because of some
Mm-hmm.
time slots, certain family commitments are not allowing me to do that. Like, but life doesn't end. बहुत सारे BRM होंगे future में. So if I
I'm
have
sure.
time and
I'm
my
sure.
family commitments allow, I'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
wonderful.
is the story.
Great, great. I think each one of
For
you,
now,
thank you.
cycling is
Sorry. Uh,
sorry.
each one of you has shared something about how the mind ultimately triumphs over the body, and how in your journeys you have taken that very, very crucial decision. Interesting that both Anuradha and Tehseen had phone calls to kind of push them over the line, at some points. But then that decision was ultimately yours. It's your body, it's your mind, and it's your decision. I think there's a very strong message for all of us in this, that just when it seems to be the most difficult, or just when it seems to be the darkest, there is the light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's an amazing lesson for me to learn. uh, Very briefly, since we also need to be a bit mindful about time. Again, question to all of you very briefly. Uh, what happens in the mind at that point? I mean, I'm not talking about cycling 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. I think most of us, have done that. What is it, you know, that is happening in the mind as you cycle over those long journeys, battling fatigue, battling muscle pain? What, I mean, can you describe that briefly, each one of you? Maybe we start with Tessin.
Okay, yeah. So for me, my mind plays somewhat, it keeps my mind itself.
Hmm.
What I do is I always look for a partner, for a riding partner, whether I'm running, whether I'm cycling, whatever it is, I look for a partner. So it's in my mind, okay, if this person is going to 50 kilometers or whatsoever destination, I can go if the person is along with me. That really helps me, okay, if someone is there, because you keep on chit chatting, you keep on talking, and you don't even realize how you have finished half of the distance.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
what remains is other half when your mind has to push yourself. Up to a point, you will of course get tired physically. That's very normal, quite normal. It's always
Yeah.
your mind which trains you. Okay, last time you have done that much, so you can easily do that. What I used to do, I
Yeah.
used to prepare for 50 kilometers. Like I used to ride 50 kilometers daily before my K2K. So as
Okay.
to prepare myself, कि अच्छा ठीक है, first 50, no issues. After that, okay, I will start training my mind for that.
Right.
So that's where it comes. You know you are tired, but you have to again and again tell your mind, okay,
Yeah.
you are doing it, you are doing it, you are doing it.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
uh, till your mind
I
is
know it
working,
sounds
you
sounds
can
very easy as you're describing it, but only
yeah,
you probably know what that
right,
experience feels like.
right.
Anuradha and Karishma, very quickly, that mind game. What is it like? I mean, what does it
Yeah.
feel like?
Yeah, I agree with us, Tehseen, because my thing also goes from the mind only. If I've thought from here, then I will do it. I know that if it is there in here, then it will happen to me. For me, everything like it happens like that.
Hmm.
Generally, also in life, I'm more that if it goes into my head, then I just do it. So
Hmm.
even the 200 BRM, once I was convinced, okay, I have this co-rider
Hmm.
with me, he will help me, and I just trusted. Uske baad I never had even an ounce of doubt in my head. It was like, acha, Animesh chal raha hai, I will do it. It is all that. And you will not believe it, Giri, I was the first person to register for the 200 BRM.
Ah. Okay.
50, 55 of us, 50, 60 riders are registered, and I was the first to register, and everyone else followed later. Everyone said, "Arey, brother, ma'am ne kar liya, so we should also register." And lots of people
Wow.
registered later on. There were around 55 of us did this 200 BRM. But I was the first to
Right.
register because for me it was like, दिमाग में आ गया है तो करना है तो फिर
तो
इसमें
करना
लेट
ही है,
why
right?
delay it, just register and
Right.
finish it off. So I
Again,
Right.
I
registered
said,
and
no,
then
it's
I
more
started.
mental than physical.
But like
It's
Tehseen
more
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I
mental
did
than
not
physical.
do any extra kilometers or anything. I did not do more or anything. I just kept doing my regular 25, 30 kilometers. And I just went and did my 200. I didn't do anything extra because I had this great trust in all these people who were going to be with me. So I was like,
Right.
so many riders are coming. There are so many people. हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
I was very confident कि हो जाएगा. And I was able to
Yeah.
do it. So for
Yeah.
me also it's the mind. Otherwise, on a daily basis, every day morning I get up, I say, "Arey yaar, chodo, let it be. I'll go back to sleep." And then I like no, I just jump out of the bed, and then once I'm out of the bed, I'm fine. But before that,
Yeah.
it's always a struggle. Should I get up? Should I not? Should I go back to sleep? So that struggle happens every day.
Yeah, I think
See,
there's this
sitting on
wonderful
a
book
bike.
which I would, probably bring in over here. It's called Tipping Point. So probably it's written by a chap called Malcolm Gladwell. So I think once you move past the tipping point, anything is
Yeah,
possible. And two things,
yeah,
which both of you have said, Anuradha and Tehseen, is this whole thing of uh, doing it with a co-rider, not really doing it in isolation, so that you keep
yeah,
motivating each other, and that it's the company, and it's probably those conversations that keep egging you on further. And I think even more important is this conviction that I am going to do it.
yeah,
And I feel this is something that probably will help all of us as human beings to achieve anything. Of course, we're talking about cycling and long distance and all of that today, but probably anything, once you decide, and once you remove that you know term from your dictionary, that I can't do it, right? I think that is a very, very important thing that you're both communicating. Karishma, your uh, this few thoughts on the play of the mind. How does that work?
See, sitting on a bike for several hours, couple of weeks, like it's a commitment, है ना? Society is always inviting, but we chose commitment to do biking
Mm,
for our health.
mm,
Nowadays, you can see, many people are suffering from so many diseases. Youngsters are
mm,
like facing so many challenges. And we
mm.
in this age, we are riding, like, we have made it a commitment to ride every
Mm.
day 30 to 40, 50 kilometers in this age. Like it's an inspiration, normally like that
Amazing.
only, like it's an
Yeah,
inspiration. Yeah. For me, like,
wonderful.
it's a next level happiness. I always find like anytime I sleep in the night, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I am awake, and I'm 6 o'clock, I'm out of the house to ride.
Wow,
And there
wow,
is a no
amazing.
day I think from May I started biking because of the COVID also. COVID helped me to come out of the house. Otherwise, I was a gym person.
Okay,
But from April, I started riding until today. I don't think I have given a break of like more than 2 days, like 3 days.
okay,
I'm
okay, okay.
consistent, I'm persistent, I'm riding
Yeah,
every day. Yeah.
yeah,
And I have removed all my health disorders from my body. I'm
fantastic,
not suffering from
amazing.
any,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think
That's
that's the
more
question
important.
that people who are listening to this conversation also have, and both you and Anuradha have really shown that you can turn that back and banish it from your system. Amazing. Um Very quickly, each one of you, one anecdote, one kissa, one choti kahani, as we are moving towards 1 hour of the session. Uh, Starting with Tessin, is there something that you want to talk about Anuradha and Karishma which they haven't told us as yet? Some secret which you want to share, and similar for Anuradha and Karishma as well. Yeah, let's start from you, Tessin.
Yeah,
What do you want
one
to
thing I
tell
would like
about?
to
Yeah,
tell about like I have hardly have done few ride with Anuradha ma'am. With
okay.
Karishma ma'am, I have not yet done anything.
Written at
So
all.
one
Okay,
thing I can, yeah, because from a month I have not been riding now. I was into running
okay.
for few days. Yeah. So one thing I would like to tell to for both of them, like their common thing was their physical issue, and
Mm,
that is what inspires me. Like you are in your
mm,
mid 30s, mid 40s, and that's when
mm.
you are starting to cycle. Like for me,
Mm,
I was in a regular pattern, but when I see them,
mm,
and the good thing, the best thing about them is they are continuous. In fact,
mm,
even if they are riding 30, 40 kilometers, that's daily. Like I'm
mm,
not doing that, and like
mm.
I look up to them for that. So
Wow,
it's not like
wonderful.
if
Yeah,
I'm
I
doing
think it's
100
that.
or whatever. It's being
Mm,
continuous. I mean,
mm.
yesterday I was talking to Karishma ma'am and she was telling how she's motivated and now she doesn't even miss it for a day. So
Right,
that is
absolutely.
really, really nice. Like
Somewhere
whenever
they
I see
say,
them, I see
hmm,
my parents or my family members. Okay, even they can do, yeah. If they are
correct,
doing,
correct.
I see that.
Yeah, I think almost anybody can do it. And Uh, I mean, one of the things that I hear, a lot of us fear this word called, discipline, but ultimately it's that discipline, it's that sense of regularity that matters really. So, Anuradha, is there something that you want to share about Tehzeen and Karishma, which we haven't heard so
Yeah.
far?
Thank you, Tessin, for the kind, nice words. What she said, I heard this from one of the, when I was doing my 200 BRM, one of the Bilaspur riders was riding next to me and he said the same thing. Okay, ma'am, you are so inspiring that I want to tell my mother about you. So that was
Okay.
actually a extremely, I think, one of the best compliments I received ever. About Karishma, it's always a pleasure to ride with her. She talks as much as I talk. So we we
Right.
both compliment each other, and we can chat and chat and chat non-stop. And we really enjoy ourselves when we both are riding. We really enjoy each other's company. And she has been, like I already said, she has been the trigger which made me do my 100 and my 125. So which helped me do my BRM. So to some extent, even my 200, thoda credit I will give to her, because without her I wouldn't have done the
Thoda sa,
first
thoda sa.
initial.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Tehseen, yeah, thoda sa credit. Tehseen, I'm really motivated because she is so young, and I
Yeah.
always feel the youngsters can take a lot of inspiration from her. I have a
Absolutely.
son who's
Absolutely.
also 27, 28. So I always feel
Yeah.
that people like Tehseen,
Yeah.
they can be really good inspirations to the youngsters. The
Yeah.
youngsters who are still in front of their gadgets, who keep watching this TV, or they are just into their own things.
Yeah.
A person like Tehseen can really motivate them to step out of the house, go and do things
Yeah.
outside the house, and
Yeah.
be fit. So Tehseen really motivates me on that level.
Yeah, wonderful. I think that's a strong message, Anuradha, that can we get out of this digital trap, go out
Yeah,
in the outdoors and enjoy some fresh air and
very
keep
important.
ourselves healthy. Karishma, anything that you want to say about Anuradha or Tessin quickly?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, first of all, for the Tehseen, in this young age, she has removed all the gadgets from her mind and she's riding, walking, run.
Absolutely.
Just now, she
Yeah.
said she has started running from last 1 month. I'm really
Yeah.
inspired, Tehseen. Like, she has left the gadgets and doing, like, healthy things. I'm sure that, like, all youngsters should learn from you, Tehseen. And then
Correct.
Anuradha ma'am, though, I told you, she's an inspiration in this 55 years age, like,
Absolutely.
small incident, we write sometimes always together, like, So one certain time, Anuradha ma'am called me, like, Arey Karishma, what happened? I fell down today. Like,
Acha.
it was like something I should, like, console her. Was sorry, but I started laughing. She sent me the picture. She had a so big boil in her foot, egg-shaped
Oh,
boil. And
okay.
then I should tell her sorry, and I started laughing. Like, मुझे हंसी आई कि आप गिर गए. फिर मुझे लगा नहीं, while riding, one must should one should fall. At least we should know कि हम कुछ कर रहे हैं. तभी तो हम गिरे. Like,
Hmm.
गिरना is very important. Like in from bicycle. So all the
Absolutely.
co-riders tells us, मैम अगर आप गिरे नहीं तो कुछ नहीं हुआ life में. फिर आप साइकिल क्या
Correct.
चलाए जब
Correct.
आप गिरे ही नहीं. So she
That's
fell
also
and
a
I
nice
started laughing.
metaphor for living, isn't it? अगर गिरे नहीं है,
Remembering that thing that she fell. And
yeah.
next day, I'm laughing at her and I also fell down from the bicycle because I had a bad thing. I had a bad thought for her and I also fell down that day.
Right,
Here
We have
also
right.
lot of
Okay.
things like that. Maybe we'll share
So,
some other time that comes like,
yeah, yeah. So I look forward to joining your group sometime. I mean, I'll of course have to go in for a cycle, and I'll come to you for advice. We enter the
okay.
last. Thank you so much for all those,
Girish,
inspiring
I would like
stories
to
that
add
you've shared.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Please tell me.
Yeah. So both the incidents where they met with an accident, they got saved. They got saved because they were with all the safety equipments. They were wearing
Yes,
helmets.
helmet,
Yeah.
Mm.
everything. We
And
had
this is
helmet,
Oh,
gloves,
yeah.
everything.
That's
where new
important.
riders miss out on.
Yeah, yeah. Right. I
Like you
think the
can buy
That
helmet.
is the
helmet, you
biggest
can buy
thing.
helmet
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, okay. So there are some questions coming up which I want to put in front of you. But then before that, uh, two questions, quick responses, and then we get on to some comments and questions from the audience. One is the first question for all of you. Maybe we can begin this time with Karishma and go the other way around. Uh, what are your goals? What goals have you set from here? And the second question, what is your advice for people, young or old, particularly the older ones, let's say, who want to do something like this, which you have also wonderfully demonstrated. So begin from you,
First thing,
Karishma.
yeah, yeah. First thing I will like to advise, like, if you are doing something, you should do consistent every day, regular
Hmm,
basis. And
hmm,
something you are doing, it should give you happiness from the soul. ऐसा
hmm.
नहीं है you are writing every day and then you are not happy. जैसे आपने काम खत्म किया. My writing is like like how I'm taking shower every day, eating. That is in my routine. I have to write every day. That is my
Yeah,
advice for the youngsters also. Like they
right.
should choose the thing which they really love to do. That is the thing.
Correct, correct, correct.
Pardon, what you
What are
asked
your
again?
goals? What are your goals? I said
Okay. I'll tell you very honestly,
500,000,
I'm really successful person in all the fields. I haven't achieved, I'm really successful in all the fields. Okay.
Okay,
And then
okay,
मैंने अभी तक कोई goals and all that ऐसा नहीं है जो नहीं achieve किया, target achieve नहीं किए life में. So like,
right.
if I make a goal and target and if I don't achieve, I get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no target and goal. I want to do something consistently,
You'll do it.
persistently, and every
Okay,
day. Yes.
right.
So there is
Okay,
no goal because I have already achieved everything in my life. There is
right.
nothing which I really. I'm a satisfied soul now.
Wow, wonderful.
My
That's
satisfaction is now next level. Like my happiness is actually bicycling.
wow, wonderful. Yeah.
That is
So
the thing. And
whatever you decide, I hope you'll. I'm sure with your conviction and your determination, you're going to be achieving that very, very
I
quickly and
have to
easily.
finish. If I start deciding I have to do 200 DRM, then I have to
Right.
do. But I haven't
Correct.
decided yet now that one. I think
Sure.
me
Sure.
and Anuradha 2 days back were discussing. She said, Karishma, you should do the 200 DRM. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not ready mentally. The day
Yeah.
I'm ready mentally, I will do it.
Right. Wonderful.
That
Tessin,
is
what
my
is your
goal
next
now.
goal? Are you going to be cycling around the globe?
There are few places I want to go and I want to
Okay.
ride there. There are few
Okay.
very beautiful countries. For example, Bhutan. I've never been there, but I want to do a tour there in my bicycle. Yeah, and
Wow.
there are, of
Wow.
course, as I told you initially, there are small goals, a lot of small goals, and achieving those
Small,
itself
small
is an
goal.
achievement. And
Right.
what I would like to tell others is,
Yeah.
it's not only cycling. They can
Anuradha,
do
you may have to tilt your. Yeah. Okay. This is fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
now
I
fine.
interrupted you. Yeah. Please carry on.
yeah, so they can do cycling. They could do running, yoga. It could be dance. It could be any form of physical activity where
One
they
second.
are
Mm-hmm.
where they are getting fit, where they are
Mm,
enjoying. So
mm,
again, one thing which Karishma
Yeah,
ma'am
yeah.
already mentioned, it's the continuity. And other
mm,
thing is, in whatever field they are interested, they can do that.
mm,
It's
mm,
all
And it
okay.
should
Like
give peace to your soul.
right,
mm.
exactly.
It should give peace to
Shouldn't
the
be a
soul.
burden.
Whatever you do,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. I hope people are listening to this. And Anuradha, your next goal and your advice for all the 50s and 60s and 70s people. Oh, ma'am. In fact, younger people as well.
Uh, my next, my next goal is to go on a cycling tour.
Okay.
So I not like Tehseen probably nothing like that, like so height and all that. But I'm
Mm,
looking at some tour operators like you have these holiday tours. Like people go on holiday tours to Bangkok and Singapore and this place and that place. So now I'm
mm-hmm.
looking at some tour operators in India. There are a couple of tour operators in Bangalore who do these
Mm,
cycling tours. It's a three day tour or a 4 day tour or a 5 day tour, and they will take you around Karnataka or even cross states. So from
oh, okay.
Pondicherry to Kerala, there is a tour. So which will take 11 days and it is around 750 kilometers. So
Okay.
and they will do probably 80 to 90 kilometers every day in 8 hours. So that is what I'm
Okay.
looking at. So I'm kind of trying to build myself for that. So that is my next interesting thing which I want to do. And for
Wonderful.
all the people,
Yeah.
all my audience, I will only say that please do good with your health. Anything that you can
Yeah.
do to make
Yes.
your
That is
health
more
better,
important.
you should definitely do.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
Yeah,
anything,
that
but
is
you
more
must
important.
do something for your health. I
Correct.
also learned this very late in life, so I cannot be in
Yeah.
that preaching. I'm not in the preaching kind of a situation.
Right,
I
right,
also
right.
did start very late, but I'm very happy that I started when I did. And I really
Yeah.
hope that all my friends and all my listeners, I hope I have motivated even if I've even inspired or motivated 10 people today in my audience, I'll be very happy.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I think Anuradha, this is wonderful. This is a wonderful way to kind of end this, um, because last week in our Mindful Saturday session, we were talking of loving oneself. We were talking of self-compassion, and I think the three of you, if I were to put it this way, are the best examples of people who are compassionate with themselves, who love themselves, and I think this is very important. If we don't do that, we are always in the business of giving, 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 and at one point of time you also tend to feel empty at the end of the day because you've given so much. But can we pause, can we look at ourselves, can we really ask ourselves, what is it that my body is saying to me, what is it that I need, and can we really cater to that? So this is really wonderful. I think it's been an
One thing
amazing
I want to
session.
share.
We can, yeah, yeah, quickly, yeah,
I think one thing
because
I would
before
like
I
to
go for
share,
the question, yeah. Mm.
one thing I will like to share. Last week, I was going through one article. The British people, two-thirds of the population, they are using bicycles to go to the office. Like they are riding for their health and to
Yeah.
save the like environment and everything. That also triggered me ki nahi, we should also do in India that ones
Amazing, yeah,
So
yeah,
let us inspire female riders that they
yes,
should, because
yes,
British two-thirds population are riding every day to reach their
yes.
goals.
Yeah,
Amazing.
very true.
And I think this is where the government of the day, I hope somebody from the government is listening. You need to create safer cities. You need to create
Yes, yes. We need
spaces
a good
within
road. Yeah.
our cities. In fact, unfortunately, when we see cities, even like Raipur, you don't even have the footpaths. The roads are widened. Everything looks very swanky, but then where is the place to even walk? And I'm sure if I
Yeah.
have a panelist who are passionate walkers, I'm a passionate walker myself. I can walk for kilometers on end. We just don't have the walking spaces in the city. In fact,
Yes.
sometimes I
We
go to
don't
Naya
have the
Raipur and walk because I love walking there. I cannot walk in the city. Yeah. Okay. So there are a few comments, some questions that are coming up. Uh, Mahua says that pursuing your passion is the most important, and I think you're all great examples of that. Farouk talks about where there's a will, there's a way. This is something we have heard. Again,
yes.
overstated, but very, very little understood. It is so
Yeah.
easy to say this, but then we don't understand it very well. Rupal says, absolutely wonderful girls. Your stories and experiences are inspiring. Looking up to you for guidance. So there are people who are looking up for guidance. Um Anuradha, there's a message for you from Evelis C, who says, Anuradha, now you can go for solo backpacking tours. And this is exactly what you have said. I mean, you've not exactly said solo, but then you're going for those longer tours. Saloni, our friend from Delhi, says it's really inspiring. Chetana talks about how good it is to hear all of this. And this is for you, Anuradha. Uh, Question one or two questions that are coming up. Uh, a question for the group from Jitendra Soni. He is based in Maharashtra and Indore, basically, both. What kind of cycles do you use, and how are these cycles different from the normal bicycle? So, who wants to take it? Please raise your hand and tell Jitendra what kind of cycles you use. Tessin, yeah.
Yeah, so basically there are three types of bike: the MTB mountain terrain bike, the hybrid, and
Mm-hmm,
the road bike. So what we ask the new riders is to buy the hybrid one. The
mm-hmm,
MTB one is good for mountains and it's a little heavier. The road bike is
mm-hmm,
really light and it's a little costly, and
mm-hmm,
it's really nice to ride. But the one who is starting to ride, for them the
mm-hmm,
hybrid bike is good. For me, I had a
Yes.
MTB bike first, and now I'm using a touring
mm-hmm,
bike. It's also known as
mm-hmm.
gravel bike, and which
Okay,
helps me for touring purposes.
right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I hope Jitendra, you've got that answered. There are many, many more, comments. All, of course, of a congratulatory nature. And really, I think at the end of the day, perhaps, this whole thing of what is your ikigai, what is your source of happiness, and how can you achieve, how can you move towards that, what is it that drives each one of us. Very often what happens is, in this mad rush in terms of work pressures, family responsibilities, and so on, we often forget what is it that we are here for. And I think a fundamental purpose for all of us is to be happy. And if we can find those paths in this conversation, I've really learned, from you all. That's for me the biggest lesson, that you've really found your ikigai. You've found your mojo, as they say, and you've really, I mean, it has not been a one time event. It's a discipline. There are ups and downs. You keep stumbling, you keep getting up, and so on. But at the end of the day, uh, I mean, I think particularly Anuradha and Karishma, the way you've battled your health issues. For many of us in the mid 40s, in fact, I find younger people in 30s having blood pressure and hypertension and so on and so forth. And there's so many people I know who have these problems. The easiest solution, I think, like Anuradha was saying, or even Karishma was saying, go to a doctor, get the surgery done, or put some drugs inside your body. But then I think you have shown that all of that is not necessary, and that there are more holistic ways of really looking at one's health. So uh, one last round of last words from each one of you before we end this very beautiful conversation. Anuradha, can we start with you? Anything that you want to say?
No, no. Like I said, I'll be really happy if I've inspired even 10 people in my audience today to
Hmm.
to take a stock of their health and do
Hmm.
something about it. Anything which they feel that which will help them. It's not important. It's not necessary that it has to be cycling. Anything that will make them better in their health, which will help them in their in future years, further years. I'll be I'll be really happy. And I really hope that, like the Tour de Raipur, we have this byline which says, drive less, ride more. So that is a
Ah,
motto that I follow now.
right.
And yeah, so it's really nice.
Thank you so much for that. Karishma, any last words you have in
Yeah,
mind?
I would like to add on, without a single medicine, I have already sorted out my all bones issue. Like I remember
Hmm.
one dialogue of the movie, Three Idiots. Success के
Okay.
पीछे मत भागो, excellence के पीछे जाओ, success झक मार के पीछे आएगी.
Arey wah.
That I followed.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
See,
Wonderful.
see, like in a movie, Kabir Singh, he was a successful doctor, but he was
Yeah.
not a good person. He was not a good human being. So
Right.
we all
Right.
should be a good human being. What you are doing,
Yeah.
do with your mind, soul,
Yeah.
body. And again,
Yeah.
the second line of PDR, keep riding, keep inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is our teacher. Yeah. Keep riding,
I
keep inspiring.
Yeah, I really like the way you brought human goodness into this. I think that is really
Yes.
fundamental. It's
Yeah.
non-negotiable, and it's
See,
amazing
many
that this
successful
hollow
people,
bones. Sorry. Yeah.
I
No,
said
tell
many
me.
successful people are there, but they are not good human
Yeah.
beings.
Yeah.
You are not successful, but you are a good human being. Even small,
Yeah.
small vendors, vegetable vendors,
Yeah.
mochi, rickshaw wala, they will remember you are a good human being. वो
Correct.
उस
Correct.
डॉक्टर को याद नहीं
Everybody.
करेगा कि ये एक डॉक्टर है ये एक इंजीनियर है बट इफ यू आर अ
Yeah.
गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग दे विल रिमेंबर यू
Absolutely, absolutely. And what is amazing for me is how you have really addressed this very serious hollow bones problem. I think there's a huge lesson in it. Anuradha, the arthritis, the pain, the joint pains that you were experiencing, and of course, Tehseen, I hope many young people take inspiration from your
a big
stupendous
inspiration for me.
achievements. And sometimes what happens is when you hear Kanyakumari to Khardungla, it's also very daunting. अरे यार मैं तो नहीं कर पाऊंगा. But then what I really liked about what you have done is breaking those goals into smaller parts. Okay, I've done 50. I can do another 50. I can do another 50. It's beautiful. I mean, you break it into smaller parts. Yeah, I mean, on another note, this is what we learn in this topic called calculus when we learn in college, which most of us don't understand. But calculus is also about breaking it into smaller units and then bringing it all together in the final, analysis. So, thank you very much, all of you first, and I really look forward to meeting you again, maybe a few months down the line. I'm sure you'll have many more stories to say at that share at that stage. A big thank you to all our friends who have tuned in into this. Keep watching. The next mindfulness session is on the 19th of December, Mindful Saturdays at 11 a.m. at the same channel, Giriz Adda. And here in this mindfulness conversation on 19th, we will be talking about the mind body connect in a very, very deep and mindful manner. So I would invite all of you to join. So thank you so much and take care of
Thank you.
yourselves and Keep
Thank you,
joyfully
Giri. It was our
rolling. Bye
pleasure.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Keep riding, keep inspiring
Yes,
people.
absolutely,
Have a
absolutely.
nice
Take care.
weekend, all of you.
Yes.